Mary.
Great. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a new venture, as Megan had described. This is our first ever virtual event from Our Children, and hopefully we'll have many more. We're learning through technology. We're getting Sister Tisa to become a new tech wizard as well. So we're thrilled to be here, and I think about all of us right now, so many of us being isolated, working from home, dealing with homeschooling and the stresses of life all around us during this pandemic. So I truly appreciate you joining us this evening and taking time out from your day. I want to start out by saying it's really a perfect day with Mother's Day arriving this weekend to celebrate our children and the impact they have on lives and giving back. My name is Mary Tenebra, and I am on the board of Our Children for going on 9 years, and I'm personally passionate about our children and the impact they make each and every day. I joined Our Children because of that vision, and when I see the impact, it's so significant, and you'll see it through this evening. But I also joined because of Sister Tisa Fitzgerald, who you'll get a chance to meet shortly. And she has made an impact on all of our lives as board members and all of the women you're going to get a chance to meet this evening. So let's take a shift and really start to moderate this conversation. So if we can bring up the mission of Our Children, for those of you that are not familiar with Our Children, is to help, and Katie, here we go. The mission's simple: to help incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women and their children successfully rejoin the community, reunify with their families, and build healthy, independent, and secure lives. And when you look at those words, pretty simple, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And I think you'll see tonight how that happens and why people stay part of this as a passion moving forward. Our mothers are so important as a foundation of each and everything we do. And with that, I want to introduce the panel this evening. We have an incredible group. Along with myself, co-hosting is Gail Evans, the Chief Digital Officer for Mercer, and she'll be facilitating the conversation with me and sharing her life perspectives. But we have a powerhouse team from Our Children, led by, of course, Sister Tisa Fitzgerald, Kelly Phelan, and Sarah Murphy. So let's really dive into the content. And Gail, I've been thrilled to get to know you over these years since you joined Mercer a while back, and hearing your story is so compelling to me. And it's interesting, as we all prepared for this evening, and I know many of the women on this phone that I know personally, you think about your mother and the impact mothers have on our lives, and it's profound. It really is. It hits us to the core. And I know the role your mother played in your life was very special. So I'm wondering if you can share your reflections on your mother and how she impacted your life.
Thank you, Mary. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you. My mother was my rock. She was a single parent, 6 children in the inner city, no education, on welfare, but she always cared about her community. She had a giving and loving heart, and she loved everyone. She would teach us that everyone has good intentions, everyone, even though it may not seem like they do. Please start with everyone having good intentions. She built character in me. She helped me to believe in hard work would pay off. Don't sweat the small stuff. She authentic, always be yourself. And with that, I moved through my life as a janitor, from a janitor to the Chief Digital Officer of Mercer.
Gail, that's an incredible story. And I know your mother's smiling down right now from heaven as she hears it. You had to overcome many obstacles, right? When you think about your career and the leadership responsibilities you had, not only as a woman, an African-American woman, can you share with people what that journey was like? It's amazingly powerful.
Yeah, being a woman, being an African-American in technology, nonetheless. It was hard. There were many nights that I would leave work in tears. Tears from being disrespected, tears from not being acknowledged, tears from being mansplained, just, really trying to understand office politics. I didn't know anything about politics. I just knew how to work hard, try to make the impossible possible. So over the years, you toughen, your skin gets a little tougher. You learn how to let things roll off, but more importantly, you don't let your job, your work environment change who you are. And I continue to be authentic. I continue to lead by example. I really do care. You might find that hard in these days in work environments, but you have to care for your team members. You have to know them. You have to get to know them and who they are so that you can lead them. And so that I believe my mother instilled that in me. To become a great leader, you first had to care and be authentic.
That's so important. And as you and I had these conversations months ago, really, the connection is so profound to your life. And as we talked about our children, what message would you share with this group about your life experiences and how those insights really excited you about the passion around our children?
When I heard about our children and women being incarcerated and their children, it reminded me so much of my life. I grew up, many of my friends were incarcerated, and they had children who, some were in foster homes, some with other family members. And it reminds me of always needing to be strong, always wanting to be strong, needing to be strong, and maybe not having enough support, not a community to help you. And when you don't have that community, it's even harder. And what I found with Sister Tisa and the community and all the folks on this call is that there is people, a community out there that care and want to help and want to be a part of a vision to help these women come back into society and raise their children and be acknowledged as not someone who was incarcerated, but someone who has overcome some very difficult challenges in their lives, like I have, and was able to prevail. These women are strong.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your reflections, Gail. And we're now going to shift a bit and talk about our children. But before we get into the panel itself, I'm going to share with you an amazing video that was done by local television, Queens TV. It's won a local Emmy, so it's definitely an award-winning piece as well. It's what I call a mini documentary. So it'll be about 10 minutes, but the story is so remarkable and reflective. And so we're going to play that right now. But before we go into playing it, this is all about giving, right? So we're going to share with you for the first time this evening. You have it in the chat function as well, this text to give number. So please note that. As you can see, some of the amazing kids, and they're even making sure they've got their masks on and the reflection of the time. So please note the 718-550-7136. And let's shift over to the documentary. Thank you. And so let's begin.
Oh, Lord.
1 second, sorry.
Okay, Rich. I think I'm going to put the cat out. I couldn't imagine what would happen to a child when a mother is taken out of that family for whatever reason. And some of it, the stories were horrifying. You know, children would be coming home from school, their mother would not be there, or they would be in the apartment when the police would come and the mother would be extracted from the apartment. And that really tugged at my heart, that I said, let me do something that would, you know, help that cause. But then to engage the women in their stories, I would be like, my goodness, that could be, you could be my niece. I began to see that the mothers had the same hopes and dreams of any mother, that they wanted the best for their children. They knew that their choice had really ruined their children's lives temporarily, and they wanted to make it right, that they couldn't do that without support.
I had my twin daughters who are now 9 years old, and things didn't work out with their father, so I had moved in with my parents, and I was just kind of trying to use any means possible to make as much money as possible to do this on my own. So I ended up selling drugs, and I ended up making counterfeit money. So I ended up getting incarcerated when I was 19 weeks pregnant with the son that I have now.
Who am I? Well, I'm a sister of St. Joseph, proudly, and I'm part of a wonderful family called the Fitzgeralds. So my life is divided between those two wonderful communities. You know, life doesn't happen in this office, it happens out there. So I have to really be a part of that community in whatever way I can be every day.
I was in the county jail for 3 months, and from there I went to Bedford Hills, where I was in general population for about a month, and then I got put up into the nursery, where I was there for about 2 weeks before I had my son. So at least I got to get comfortable to it. I got to meet Sister Tisa. I got to see that, well, okay, this isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, because here's people that actually care and who, you know, see that people can make mistakes but could come back from it and really just want to help.
How you feeling?
Hi.
Good, yeah, you look good. I'm supposed to go over there today to do a final walkthrough. Okay. You didn't talk to Melissa, did you at all?
No, I'm going to meet her tomorrow.
Oh, all right,
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you. That was easy. All right, good, thanks.
Is this then,
Two things done. So we have 18 beautiful apartments here for all formerly incarcerated mothers and their children, women who have been in our communal homes. Nobody came here directly from prison. They already had the life experience and training of communal living to get the skills to move into this and make this work.
She's 10, she's having a boy, so they sent some boy stuff, and then the rest of it was like, I mean, it's a scary thing being locked up when you're pregnant. So I found out that I was eligible for the work release program. By doing that, I was to move to Long Island City into one of Our Children homes where I could still keep my son and work, and I only had to go check in at the prison twice a week. And Sister Tisa introduced me to Joanna, who runs the Our Working Woman program, and she saw something inside of me and immediately hired me to be the office assistant there. So since then I've been working there. My plans were to go back to Syracuse where my daughters are, but because I believe so much in this program and just love to sit by and watch everything that Sister Tisa does for everybody, I've decided to stay here and hopes to get my own apartment through Our Children, which should be happening soon, hopefully. And then at that point, I'll move my daughters here.
We built this building, and 6 years ago, through the help of many community-based organizations at the city and state level, but also the local community was very supportive of it. And that's a hard thing when you say to the community board, we're going to build 18 permanent apartments for formerly incarcerated women. And you went to the community board, and the community board unanimously said, go for it. Then you know you've really made a difference in this community.
So here in Teen Program, we do a lot of different things. Right now, we're working on healthy relationships with our teachers, with our peers, in our community, with our parents. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Our Children. I'm an original mom here of Our Children. I had my daughter when I was incarcerated. From the moment I got to Our Children, I knew in my soul that this was where I was meant to be. And I guess Sister Tisa kind of saw that in me way back when, and I was hired on staff. But the opportunity to know all the negatives in that world and be able to make positive differences, to be able to do that on a daily basis, humbles me. I will never, I could never give back to our children, Paul. God.
You do give back.
I love you.
She's real. She's the real deal. She's why we do what we do. Our recidivism rate is like 2%, whereas you look at 30, 40% in terms of the state or the nation. These walls are filled with success stories, and that's the nice thing about it, that everyone is a success in her own way. This is one of our thrift shops, and we will be developing that clothes cleaners over here will become the second site here. A wonderful thrift shop. Why is it wonderful?
So much, because the community, they come and and we try to help them, and they're grateful for that.
Yeah, that's it. Good, good. Come on up here with your new look. Now, come on up. Yeah, hi, how are you? How you doing? Good to see
How you feeling?
Okay, good.
You know, I'm moving on
what?
the 28th, right?
You're moving where?
To my mother.
I know, okay, and that's it. One of our new residents here. What are you doing here? What are you Working?
Yeah.
All right, doing your, doing your internship
Yes.
here. All right, good. Helping this woman?
Yes.
Yeah, right, that's
I
it.
love her.
People often say, what's the secret of your success? And it's really not our success, it's the success of the women in really buying into a different way of living. It's not easy. They have to work hard. They have to really be committed to rebuilding their own life and a life bonding with their children. But the staff is there to do it, and their peers are there to do it. And that's the difference. They go home at night to a nice communal setting where they have shared meals together. They have to share the cooking and the cleaning. They don't do it alone. And that's really the secret.
When you're incarcerated, and from the officers, from everybody from that standpoint, it's just like they make you feel like you are your crime and like you can never do any better. And then you have somebody like Sister Tisa that doesn't see you for that. They see you for what's on the inside and let you, your doors are open to so many possibilities, and it actually makes you thrive as a person and be successful in life because you know that somebody is actually there, you know, pushing you and patting you on the back and letting you know that everything that you're doing is going to be okay.
Okay, and again, this afternoon, the food pantry is open from 3 to 5, so the lineup will be starting shortly, but come in, okay. Hello, hi everybody, hi. Welcome to the best food pantry in Queens, right? As you see, we get, things from City Harvest on delivery days also, breads and all kinds of things. And again, all of these places are run by our women. Like Nina is one of my clients, Kelly, Giamara, you met in the sets. All the women who are running these programs are our former clients. Yeah, so they have because they have the heart then to really do it, and it's more than a job for them. And then again, they serve as a real role model for women coming out. If you can do this, you were where I was once, and with hard work and support, your life can be changed. All right, there are a lot of women who are not here now. They're out in different areas of internships. We try to encourage businesses in the neighborhood to give our women the opportunity to have an internship with them. So that's really, they learn the workaday world, and then they come back here to kind of debrief and get their marching orders for the next day. So that's what happens here.
Our main focus is we want to take women that are affected by the criminal justice system and give them whatever lessons, workshops, training, certification, schooling that they need to have a successful career. And it's not about just getting a job, but it's also about how to keep it as well, and communication and team building and, just coming out of your shell and being able to talk like this, I guess. So I would say moving forward, my kids, they know exactly what happened. I've never kept anything from them because the truth is they're gonna find out. And I want them to always trust me, to be able to come to me with anything. In order to do that, I have to be honest with them too. And my son's too little to know right now, but he'll grow up knowing what happened so that hopefully his life can be different than mine.
We have one little girl here whose mother's still in prison. She was in the prison nursery and she had to come home. Her time was up. She had no family to come to, so one of our teachers is raising her until the end of time. So when she comes home, she'll be coming out to her own family, the child's family, which is really nice. It's good. Yeah, here she is. Here she is now. Listen, that's Chelsea.
How are you? You feeling better?
lay down.
Yes, you are. You eating carrots? Oh, wow.
Well, thank you so much. That was an amazing video, and I'm very proud to turn it over to another inspiring woman, Gail, to share her discussion with Sister Tisa. Gail, let me turn it to you.
Thank you. That was so powerful. Let me just take a moment, take a breather. That was so powerful. Part of my life has been about meeting angels along the way. They gave me a chance. They gave me an opportunity to become the best me. I am so honored to be here with Sister Tisa. She is indeed an amazing leader, an angel to so many by seeing in them something different, something better to help them become their best self. She had a vision for children whose mothers were incarcerated. And that vision is born and realized through our children. We thank you, Sister Tisa.
I would like to say good evening to everyone before we start our dialogue. A heartfelt thanks for really being part of tonight, and a virtual hug to everybody out there in Homeland USA. Thank you for giving up your Netflix slot and choose to be part of this unique event. It is important that every time my name is mentioned, I have to edit it and say, and an incredibly dedicated, hardworking, wonderful staff. Nobody does this work alone. So I also would like to thank my own mother, express my own gratitude for my mother, whose deep faith and selflessness and incredibly hard work ethic, her kindness and generosity provided a foundation from which my siblings and I have been gifted with a life foundation for our lives. So with that said, Gail, I'll let you speak now. Thanks.
Well, Sister, you mentioned that my mother's house is the first home for many women to come to at our children. Again, there has to be a story behind that name. I'm anxious. I want to hear the story behind the name. Give us some insight, or as they say in my neighborhood, a little dirt. Give us some insight.
It really was a Sister Elaine original, and the name was chosen as a kindness for the children who live there, to really shield them from some of the unnecessary stigma they could be exposed to when they were out in the neighborhood or at school. So when their friends asked them, where do you live? And they would proudly say, I live in my mother's house with my mother's friends. And it worked, and it continues to this day. And it's an interesting, always a conversation opener.
Nice. My mother's house. It just sounds so great. My mother's house. Our mothers are so important to our lives. Mm-hmm. So very, very important. So the work of our children starts on the inside, prison programs. Tell us about the programs our children operates in New York State prisons.
Oh, again, the dedication of the staff and the volunteers inside Bedford and Taconic is astounding. Our children holds the New York State contract for family services inside Bedford Hills maximum security prison for women and Taconic Correctional, a medium security prison directly across the street. And inside, the programs that we offer are all geared toward strengthening the bond that mothers have with their children. There's an incredible world-renowned nursery program that's there that provides every service you could think of for the women who come in pregnant, give birth, and are able to spend a year of life learning and bonding with their baby. Other programs include advocacy for women, parenting programs. We have a wonderful children's center that really gives a living room for women, mothers with their children to experience life. The key program, though, is really transportation, because it enables us to bring children from anywhere in New York State and beyond into the prison to spend quality time with their parents. We have a unique summer program. It's almost like a camp inside a prison, where children can spend the week inside visiting their mothers. They go out to host families in the community who welcome them into their home and become a second family to them. And then at the end of the week, they go in and they meet the birth mother. And that again creates another support system for those children who say their mother is important, they are important, and the community of Bedford Hills is important for them in their lives. So they're astounding programs, and we're very happy that we are able to continue them with the support of Department of Corrections, but they couldn't function on that only. It's really the generosity of people who help us enhance the work that we do, especially in the area of transportation. We also do work at Rikers Island. I don't want to leave that out, because that also has been a very important part of our work, and we hope to continue and expand that work inside in the near future.
That's wonderful. You give them hope. You build a community that they start to love and be engaged in while in prison, and they know that their children are in arm's reach. Give them a reason to leave, to want to leave. That's so beautiful. I'm sure, you know, as we think about the coronavirus and this pandemic is really impacting your clients both in prison and in Long Island City. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, our children's world, just like the rest of the world, has really been turned upside down with the coronavirus. But we're fortunate again to have the support of a community that's helping us get through this. Our houses have been impacted because our women are either furloughed or weren't working in the first place, and really depend on our children to supply all the necessities of life, from toiletries to food to paying phone bills, and really being able to connect back to families, because many of them have children elsewhere, and it's important for them to continue to build that relationship. Certainly in the programs, many of them have been suspended because of the virus, especially our child care programs. Our work training program, fortunately, has been on a virtual platform, and that has resumed full force. But really the greatest impact, and in the prisons also, let me say that there's been a valiant effort for the staff to stay in touch with what's going on inside and to really be a source of support for the women. We have a prenatal class going on virtually, which I think is a revolutionary idea, but they're making it work and really are anxious to get back in to be a support to the women. We've also done incredible collections of basic food and supplies for the women inside: water, juice, treats, coffee, ramen noodles, all the things that, yes, they're important for them, but they're saying to the women inside, we care. You are our sisters. We know you're there. This is the least we can do during this period of time. So the generosity of people have helped us do that. The local level here in Long Island City, the food pantry, of course, has just been exponentially growing with the need. You know, typically we open 3 times a week, the food pantry in Long Island City, and it's there for our families, it's there for women who come out of prison to access, but it also is part of the Long Island City community, a real lifeline. And we're open 3 days a week. In the past, we would serve maybe average of 300 a week. Just today in our food pantry, we served 277 people. the line was down the block and around the corner. And they come with gratitude for everything that we've given them, from food to, puzzles. We're trying to get cleaning out our warehouse, giving out all kinds of things that would say to the community here, we care. So it's here, the impact is here. We're looking forward, as everybody in this world is, to some kind of a relief or some kind of an answer, but we wait patiently together and really in service of each other. And that's an important part for the women to understand and for all of us to understand.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Gail. That was great reflections. And so let's go back. This COVID-19 emergency is pressure testing all the programs, and we're gonna hear more about this. But you think of the example she just gave of the food bank, and we're seeing this every day. There's a variety of fundraising going on globally, but Queens is a hotbed, an epicenter, frankly, for the country of some of the most concerning needs around COVID. And this is a backbone for Long Island City. So any way you can give, everything from a Metro card to rental assistance, we really want to help make an impact and keep everyone on the right track with the right programs and foundation.
Absolutely. Be an angel today. Be an angel today.
Mary, may I also add that the woman's picture who is here recently came out of Bedford Nursery 2 weeks ago. And we continue to do that. Our doors are forever open. And we'd like to take every woman from the nursery here if we could. But we also welcomed another beautiful mother and a baby from the nursery today. So, nice. And their needs, we have to supply everything that they need. But you can't imagine the joy and the gratitude when they are welcomed into our homes, especially at this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And so I'm going to shift gears, and we saw a powerhouse set of women on the video, and let's talk with Kelly Phelan first. So Kelly is the coordinator of our children's teen mentoring and volunteering programs. And hey, Kelly, I've known Kelly for years, and I'm so excited to be with her here tonight. And Kelly, you said you're one of the original Our Children moms.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? How long have you been with Our Children?
So 13 years ago, September 26, 2007, I walked out of Rikers Island with a 2-week-old baby. And I walked down the driveway of 12th Street and sitting there was the mom that I had met on the inside when I was incarcerated on Rikers Island. The one who was telling me about Sister Tisa and this family. And I was like, you're right, I'll never see you again. And there she was when I came walking down the driveway. And pretty much everything she said to me, it was right there in my face. And I just knew in my soul, I was meant to be here.
That's amazing. And you think about your children, right? And we just saw some great photos of your kids. They were part of this family, right? So what was it like growing up with Our Children as they developed? So why don't you share with everyone about your experiences there?
Man, we've gone through every program between my children. So my little Savannah, she started off in daycare to after school to teen program. Savannah's personality, along with every child that lives here at Our Children, is huge. They are the most social kids you can come across because of everybody that volunteers here. And they're around people in college and high school, and they're always having these conversations. So to talk to one of our kids is like, so that alone, I love how outgoing she is. My older daughter, if it wasn't for therapy, I don't know if we would have ever reconnected. And so therapy for me was one of the strongest programs for me. And then for my family, it all started at my mother's house. My own mother, this is Mother's Day, my own mother passed away when I was 7 years old. So what should have been instilled as me in a child wasn't. But when I moved into my mother's house, I learned how important it was to come home and have dinner with your family, or clean up and get your child ready for school and just be present in life. And to this day, dinner is on my table when the bell is going off at my mother's house.
That's amazing. So we talked a bit about the pandemic, looking at the impact on the food pantry. You're involved in many of the programs. where do you see the impact with the people you work with day in and day out, and how are you able to address it?
Man, it's been a little crazy. So between the mentoring program that I coordinate, which is all 5 boroughs of New York City. So as soon as coronavirus really started to kick in, I had a lot of grandmas panicking and calling me like, hell, I don't know what to do. Can you help me with food? Can you help me with food? So then it was like, wow, I know my families are really like in need. I'm sure we got moms that are in Bedford and Taconic whose families are in need as well, that are taking care of their children. So I reached out, and together we started like a food delivery program. So within the next 2 weeks, we'll start bringing food out to all of the families from my program, from the Bedford program, the Taconic program, and just really, the other part is really keeping the kids connected to people while they're not connected to anybody. So I'm consistently recruiting volunteers to work with our children, support our children, our moms, and just really staying as normal as we can in this.
Thank you. First and finally, Kelly, thank you for everything you do. You think about the comments, the heartfelt comments you had about our children and the impact on you, but you are paying it forward in spades. So I appreciate that each and every day.
I love our children.
We love you too.
Love you, Kel.
So let's shift over to Sarah. So Sarah Murphy, you met in the film as well, and Sarah is the office manager for our Working Women's program within Our Children. And how did you land that role? What's your experiences?
Well, I'll have to say that, first of all, because it is Mother's Day, I want to give a thanks to my mom, who, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be anything, because she raised me well. She gave me all the values and morals that I needed to be a good person. Unfortunately, I lost a little bit of that along the way, but when I came to Our Children, it was like they provided that same kind of home with the same values and the same, meals and everything. And they made me feel right at home. So I love that. But going back to our Working Women program, when I got out on work release, I went and met with Joanna Flores, who she took a look at me. She took a look at what my qualifications were, and she said, you know what, I might have a position for you. And since then, I've been working as the office manager, and she's not only my boss, but she's also my mentor, and she has given me every single tool that I need to be successful.
That's great. So I would imagine that there are a lot of participants or alumni of the programs that are really being impacted right now. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I know that right now is a really hard time for everybody, and we're doing our best to help as many people as we can. We've moved the program to an online platform, and I just have to say that I believe the program is even running better like this. Everybody is involved. Everybody is giving it their all. People are speaking up that don't usually speak up, and it's just amazing to see how committed these women are to the program.
That's great. So you talked in the film, we saw some great pictures a minute ago about your girls and your son, Vinny. So you talked about having your son while you're incarcerated. Tell us a bit more of your reflections from a baby and a person in the prison nursery.
Well, it's kind of like being just a regular person, because you really have to get that diaper bag ready in the morning, get up early, do chores, get everything ready. You bring your kid to the daycare, the baby to the daycare, and you go and you do your programs. You come back, you cook the dinner, you do the chores. But I will have to say that being inside of the nursery was a very powerful thing for me, because Our Children really made it like a home. Everything that they do for the nursery, they make sure you have everything you need, that your room is comfortable, that the baby's taken care of, and that is such a blessing.
That's great. And the twin girls are beautiful too. So they're living up in Syracuse. How does the program help you stay connected to them?
Well, they helped me while I was inside a prison with different ways to connect with them. They made sure that there was a gift for them when they came by their birthday. They helped me learn how to make a quilt so that I could send them home to each of my daughters. And now they're reconnecting me with them as well, because they always make sure that I have the time to spend with them when I can, and that I can spend holidays together. They always make sure that no matter what house I'm in, that there's space for my kids to come and visit.
That's great. So thank you for your reflections. And Sarah, you're doing amazing work, and thank you so much. And I would also like to offer to people on the call as well, if you want to volunteer or help mentor, feel free to send a note. Oh, and there's Vinny. Hey. Hi. Welcome. So again, we can make an impact. We'd love for you to join and volunteer if you want to do any virtual mentoring as well. So if we could put up right now, Vinny, we'll see you later. The text to give number. So here's just some examples of, again, financial opportunities that you can help with sponsoring different programs and birthdays and really fun stuff as these kids continue to develop and thrive within our children's programs. So now, sister, I'm going to turn it back to you, and we're going to hear the story of Tamanika.
Well, thanks, Mary. Many women come out of prison with the hopes of reuniting with their children who are either in family care or foster care. And I'd like to introduce you to one of our stars, Tamanika, who came to our children, lived in my mother's house in 2018, and successfully, relentlessly worked hard to reunite with her children. And now she's happily living in a beautiful apartment with her 3 children, along with 12 other families from our children. So take it away, Tamanika.
I feel like being at our children, I was a person. And I feel like nobody judged me. And that was a wonderful feeling. Coming from prison where everybody looking at you like you're a criminal, to coming to our children and everybody looking at you like a person, it's amazing. It's amazing, and I'm thankful for that experience. I never felt judged here. And I think that's one thing a lot of, especially women, because we are more judged, like, you're a mother, what you doing in prison? So when you come here, you don't get that feeling. You know, what's our children's slogan? Love makes a difference, and they show me a lot of love, and I appreciate it.
Wow, that was so heartfelt, Sister Tisa. You know, our time together this evening's coming to a close. We've covered a lot of great discussions through the evening. And, you know, I want to, if you could share some of your reflections one more time for the group on our children to help wrap up this great evening.
Well, Mary and everyone, it's really my hope that we've given you an impactful glimpse into the life of our children. I also wasn't given the opportunity, I had a little script ready to really give a shout out to our dear sister Elaine Roulet, who really was the charismatic leader and the forerunner in all work inside prison. And she is my mentor and my dear friend. And I know many people, I see your names, really brings joy to your heart when I mention her name. But I also want everybody to know their support is valued. And we make every effort to be good stewards of your generous giving. And as I reflect on tonight, I look back at 3.5 decades of work with the women and children. I have to say that the women and children that I've been privileged to work and to live with have really been teachers par excellence of the resilience and the goodness of the human spirit. And I thank God every day for that treasured gift. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Mary, before you get the last word, I have to ask everybody out there in Homeland USA, you could get a pot and a pan if you want, or do whatever, but please raise your hands and let's give a round of applause to Mary Tenebrae, her incredible team from MRSA, Megan Campbell, our development director, and also the panelists who were here, and Gail Evans, for all your incredible work making this happen. It's a first in the life of our children, and it's very exciting. So let's thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a lot of work behind the scenes with this, and I appreciate everyone. And one last note, you know, we got to see Vinny live, and he woke up, but we've got Noah. Noah wants to share with us a brief happy Mother's Day welcome. So Noah.
Noah's in our Corona house.
Thank you from our children.
Thank you, Noah. So people were looking for the text to give number. It's right here, 718-550-7136. I can't thank everyone enough for all the hard work, as Sister had just underscored. This was a new venture for us. I know there are many organizations out there in the media that are doing these things, and I have to say our team made it a flawless experience. So we will share this video with individuals if you'd like to use it, or share it with a friend if you didn't have a chance to see it all the way through. Please give, and please volunteer if you'd like to be involved. We thank you so much, and my last thank you is to my mother as well, and the inspiration she brought to me. And I know she'd be happy to see me doing something like this evening. So happy Mother's Day. Thank you,
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Enjoy and celebrate. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Thanks. Enjoy your night.
You could only see it if you
Thank